This report brought to you by the Richmond Club, where investors and high-growth companies meet.
Our next speaker is the CEO of Avidian Gold Corporation. Please welcome Mr. David Anderson.
Thank you. Avidian Gold is a publicly traded company on the Venture Exchange under the symbol AVG. Just a little bit of history about Avidian. It's only recently public, but the company was actually started 5 or 6 years ago when a group of individuals got together when I believe gold prices were in the $900 range, and we started acquiring properties in Nevada and in Alaska primarily. And we're able to get a number of very advanced properties into the company at a time when really nobody wanted gold properties. So we targeted district scale gold properties primarily, but also copper too. And as I say, they were all advanced stage, and most importantly, they were in friendly jurisdictions. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the gold market. I know everybody's aware that gold has had a bit of an uptake in the last little while, and it's nice to see. It's about time in our thinking. This slide here on the left, you're looking at the rate of discoveries of gold deposits over the last number of years, and you can see that there's a significant decline in the discovery rate. And that's despite the fact that the money spent on exploration has actually increased, which is highlighted by the yellow line. That transcends into the slide on the right. It talks about gold production, primarily amongst the major mining companies. The reality is that they are mining reserves on an ongoing basis year after year and have to replace those reserves. And the reality is it's getting harder and harder to replace those reserves. So we expect to see in the 2021-2022 timeframe a significant decline in the gold production, which will help on the supply-demand side, also accelerating the price of gold above and beyond the issues related to fiat currencies and devaluation concerns of investors. This slide here is really, it talks about the track record of management. We have a very experienced management team. This is not the first time that we've taken a company from the ground up and sold the company. This slide on the left is QGX Limited. This is a company that we started in Mongolia looking for gold. We took it public in 2002 and ultimately sold it for $260 million. The slide on the right is Antares Mineral Inc. We started that in 2004 and ultimately sold it for $650 million. Interesting to see that the life cycle of both companies was 6 years from the time it went public. Avidian went public December 2017. We have excellent asset base, probably better than what we had at QGX or Antares when we started. And so we're perfectly positioned to capture the uptake in the gold market in the 2021-22 range. The team is a very experienced team. I sit as the chairman and CEO and been involved in the industry for 30 plus years. It's something I love to do, and I guess I'm a bit of a serial entrepreneur and can't stay away from looking for gold in the ground. Donna McLean is a CFO. Donna's been involved with any number of mining companies as a CFO and does a great job of keeping us on track. Tom Setterfield is a VP of Exploration. Tom has been with me for the last 25 years and was involved in Mongolia and certainly in the discovery of the gold mine that we found in Mongolia. Alex Davidson sits as a technical advisor, executive VP, Barrick, retired at this point, but Alex has a litany of successes in his career. So we're really well placed. Recently, Steve Roebuck has joined us as Vice President of Corporate Development, as we are continuing to look at a number of strategic opportunities as well as other opportunities to add to the company. Clearly, we've talked a bit about this, but the key to success in Avidian is a dedicated team, significant insider investment. These companies don't work unless the insiders are on the same side of the table as the shareholders, and the focused strategy. In this particular case, we're looking at friendly jurisdictions. They're key to being able to actually realize the potential of the discovery that you make. and the assets have to be in the right place. We're currently in Nevada in the Humboldt Trend, and in Alaska in the Tintina Gold Belt, both very prolific producers of gold. We're going to talk about 3 of the targets that we currently have. We don't have enough time to go through all of them, but needless, 4 of the targets exist in the Alaska Tintina Gold Belt and 1 in the Humboldt Trend. When we say 5 large footprint targets, we're talking about the potential district scale properties, the potential of delivering a multi-million ounce type deposit. It takes as much work to find a big deposit as it does a small one, right? So we're going to chase the large ones. That's what we're after. Amanita is a property that's in the Tintina Gold Belt. It adjoins the Fort Knox gold mine. It's in the Tonsina Trend, and the same trend that hosts the Fort Knox gold mine. For those of you that aren't aware, Fort Knox produces 380,000 ounces a year with a cutoff grade of 0.3 grams per ton, which is basically a large earth-moving operation. That's because oxidation exists down to the 300-400 meter level in the sediments that are within the Tonsina Trend. The properties in Fairbanks, we have obviously easy access to infrastructure, and equally important, we have the same rocks that we're looking at the Fort Knox mine. So the Amanita property sits on the one side of the Gilmore Dome, and Fort Knox sits in the other. So here's the Gilmore Dome. This is the intrusive event that we believe brought the gold in, directly or indirectly responsible for Fort Knox. We sit on the opposite side. We have historical evidence of economic grades of gold and Amanita, placer production in the past. And here's a quick snapshot of some of the work that was done on Amanita by Kinross, who owns the Fort Knox gold mine. This is the late 90s. They subsequently let it go because, as everyone knows, in the late 90s, gold prices took a turn for the worst. But that gives you some of the results that you see that they achieved in the drilling that they completed. They were testing a geochemical anomaly that extended along the axis of the Tonsina Trend. We now have crews active on the property, and they're doing a series of trenches across the axis of the trends, and we're trying to establish the limits of the gold mine there, of the presence of gold on that, with the idea of a drill program kicking off a little later in the year. We'll just now jump to the Golden Zone property, and while we have multiple targets in this area, the 2 we will be talking about is the Breccia Pipe, where we currently have a resource, and the JJ Zone down to the southwest. So access to infrastructure in Alaska is key. This is 16 kilometers west of the main highway between Fairbanks and Anchorage. We have power, rail, everything. The Breccia Pipe deposit itself sits on a mining lease outlined in red here that is good for another 32 years. We're in the right age of rocks. We currently have a resource, so we're pretty excited about expanding that resource and continuing to add to the reserves at the property. This is a quick shot of the main resource area. This is an outline of a pit that has been proposed to extract the 300,000 ounces. I think the key thing here is to recognize that in 2018, we did some drill testing in the area. We looked at how we might go about the ability to expand the resource. We intersected gold up in what's called the Mayflower Extension. That's about 400 meters to the northeast of the pit area. And interesting enough, it's hosted in a conglomerate, but we believe the source of the gold that we're seeing there is the same as the gold in the Breccia Pipe itself. So we anticipate that we're going to be focusing a lot on this area here in terms of looking for an expansion of these reserves. Above and beyond this, in the immediate area, we have things like the West Breccia, which we have yet to even test, but has strong evidence of gold. So there's a lot of opportunity of gold occurrences in the immediate area to expand this resource above and beyond the immediate area. This slide here is a different shot, so that's a section on the breccia pipe. And what we wanted to show here is this, what's called the BLT shear zone, which strikes for about a kilometer and a half, has been pierced by only 4 holes to date. But each of those holes that have gone through there, and the widths vary from anywhere from 10 to 50 meters, are running a half to a gram type material. Now, we're convinced that there is a source of that gold along that shear zone, and that we have to sort of systematically, over the course of the next little while, begin to test the outer regions to see where we can get closer to where that source of gold might be. It's an exciting target in conjunction with the breccia pipe, and one of the reasons we're very bullish on the idea that we can build resources at the breccia pipe. Very quickly on the JJ zone, this is a property that our prospectors discovered late last year. It gives you an idea of the type of potential. Now, we've got a 15-kilometer long axis and a corridor that has multiple occurrences of gold. This was found about 6 kilometers to the southwest of the main breccia pipe area. It's never been tested before. Grab samples and channel sampling of the intrusives and the sediments between the intrusives, returns significant grades of gold in the order of 2 to 6 grams in the intrusives, and the sediments closer to a half gram or gram, which is important because if you're taking the intrusives out where the gold lies, then you also have to take the sediments as well. So having credits in gold is important. We're looking at a 300-meter vertical exposure, 150-meter width, and a strike length of 500 meters. This is a target that's easy to understand, is visible and easy to drill, and we look forward to doing further prospecting, trenching on this, and advance the drilling a little bit later this fall. Nevada, I'd simply like to say that in Nevada we have a property called Jungo in the Humboldt Trend that lies between the Sleeper mine and the Hycroft mine. And the Hycroft is a 25 million ounce deposit, the Sleeper is 7 million ounce. We have historical evidence of gold on the property from previous drilling, as shown in the lower left. And we have a number of targets identified to drill. We just don't have the time to get at it just yet, so it's there and ready to go. And when we do get the opportunity, we're anxious to get on Jungo. Right now, the focus is Alaska. Here's a quick overview of the cap structure of Avidian. We currently have 64 million shares outstanding. And the market cap of the company is approximately 7 million. We do have a convertible debenture. This would convert to about 1.7 million shares, but that converts at 40 cents as compared to our current share price at 10 cents. So, it's something that gives an indication that yes, our share price has been under pressure recently, but that's probably why it's an excellent time for you to step in and invest. So looking ahead, the Amanita property, we're doing some trenching on Amanita, aimed at expanding the mineralization there, as mentioned, compilation in the Golden Zone with continued exploration work in the JJ Zone, and a helicopter-based program to explore for other JJ style of properties in the Golden Zone property. We're also maximizing value in Hide Tide Resources, which is a Canadian subsidiary company that is active on the east coast of Canada. We raised roughly $360,000 flow-through financing, and that we're active on the properties primarily in Newfoundland, but expect to see some news soon on some an opportunity that we're assessing at this time and making good progress with. We may do the same with Nevada and spin that out, but it'll only happen if we can do an accretive deal with the company. In other words, it adds to our shareholder value. Why invest in Avidian? Well, I think I've given you a pretty good summary of those results. So the key thing is, look, we've done this before. We've been involved in this business for some time. We understand how this works. It's not our first time at the rodeo. And we're looking forward to getting Avidian going forward as soon as we can. And active in the field, and we believe in the end that we'll be able to deliver to our shareholders exactly what we did for both QGX and Antari shareholders. So just to say, for a conclusion, we are in the midst of a private placement. It's being done at a 10-cent share price. There's a little bit of room left, a couple of $100,000 left in that placement, and then we're going to close it up because of the dilution to the company, the share price. But if you have any interest, by all means, let us know, and we'd be happy to include you in that. Thank you very much.
If you enjoyed this video, please let us know. You've been watching the Richmond Club Report. If you've just come across this channel, please feel free to like and subscribe. I'm sure you'll find a lot of interesting and lucrative investment and trading ideas around here. We'll see you again soon on the next video. Cheers, guys. Have an amazing and profitable day.